Okay, good morning, and good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I was going to say good morning alone, but again, I remember everybody is not joining from the same time zone. Yeah, you're welcome to another Discipline Agile Meetup. Just before I hand over to one of our team members, just quickly let you know that this is the Discipline Agile Meetup. And I can see on the chart that a couple of people are already dropping where they're joining us from. Emmanuel from Accra, Ghana, Femi from Abuja, Josefa from Tanzania, Aisha from Zimbabwe. Nice to meet you, Aisha. Isen from Lagos, Amina, Abuja, Victoria, from Ghana. Thank you for joining. Ken from Ghana, Adebowale from Lagos, Nigeria. Andrea, thanks for joining as well from the Bahamas. And Precious. Precious, how are you? From Edmonton. And Abbas from Lagos, Nigeria. Keep it coming, keep it coming. Fidel, thank you so much for joining from Rwanda. We enjoyed our time in Kigali just a couple of weeks ago. Thank you for joining us on early. Anyway, while you keep those coming, we will give you a shout out. However, I'll hand over to Josephra to really introduce the session today so that we can start in earnest. Josephra, over to you.
Thank you everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Thank you very much, Pete, for this wonderful session. Welcome everyone for this beautiful day, beautiful evening, beautiful morning for others. And I would like to introduce to you Discipline Agile Meetup group, the objective of the group. And I would like you to take very care and a note of this, and I believe in future you'll be able to learn many from the group. A Discipline Agile Meetup is a group where we are dealing with a dynamic community dedicated to championing the true value of project management, lean and agile practices. Our mission is to support individuals and organizations across Africa who are passionate about advancing their capabilities in agile and lean frameworks. We are committed to ongoing knowledge transfer in project management, emerging industries, technologies, Scrum, Lean, Kanban, SAFe, Lean Startup, and other Lean Agile practices. And our main focus for 2025 is Agile, project management, and technology and innovation. And this is brought to us not other by it is Agile Disciplined Agile Meetup is brought to us by Peter Lauren Consulting. It is an organization that is founded by a mastermind, a person who is a project manager, a professional project manager.
Let me quickly introduce Emmanuel, who is going to be our speaker today. Who is also going to talk a little bit. Is going to talk extensively about leading with EQ, human-centric leadership for high-performing teams. Emmanuel is a highly skilled professional with over 15 years of experience in solution development and project management across various sectors of the economy, including education, IT, telecoms, banking, transportation, and pharmaceutical industry. Emmanuel is quite passionate about business analysis, about project management, Scrum Master, and risk management. He is an author, he's an agile practitioner, he's a trainer. He's one of the people that I really respect so much. He has a lot of entrepreneurial mindset that he uses in his daily endeavors. Emmanuel has expertise in customer and vendor management as well as training across functional teams. As looking at Emmanuel's qualifications, they include internationally recognized certifications in project management, risk management, business analysis, general agile, and discipline agile from PMI. He's also a professional Scrum Master, and he holds that certification. Without further ado, I'd like to invite um, Emmanuel to take up the stage. Thank you, Emmanuel. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Pete. And please let me know if I'm audible and also my screen is visible.
Yeah, sure. You're audible and your screen is visible. If you can put it in, beautiful. It's in slideshow now. Presentation mode now.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone, depending on where you find yourself under the sun. It is really my pleasure to be here to talk about this interesting topic. I know it's not a very new topic to many of us, or possibly everyone here, because we all lead in various ways. But the point is, how can we hone our emotional intelligence skills so that we can be able to better deal with people and situations that come our way? So our focus is to try and use this opportunity to unlock success through developing better skills in emotional intelligence. So we are going to look at high-performing team, emotional intelligence, human-centric leadership. The next slide is going to present you some scenarios, and please let us know in the chat if you have ever found yourself in such a situation before, any of the situations. So there on the screen, have you ever found yourself in this situation before? Any of these situations? Being accused, have to deal with two people in your team fighting, arguing, not seeing eye to eye with each other, or having to receive an inaccurate report and you have to react. What about in a meeting and maybe the CEO blows up? Have you ever faced such a situation before? Okay, so we have a few chats there. Definitely, yeah? Okay. So, I mean, the response in the chat box indicates that we all have faced a similar situation before. The next question, how did you react? Do you remember the way you reacted? Was it one that brought about peace? Did it leave you with some kind of mental images that you would love to erode? Well, as it is, we are all fallible people, so we may have encountered situations like this and possibly did not handle it the best way possible, right? So, well, we are not going to beat ourselves now, but that is why we are here to better hone our skills in emotional intelligence. I'll tell you about my personal experience. Just about a few weeks, I went to the bank and I had presented my check to cash out some money. And the cashier looked at me and said, my account is blocked. Now, if you were in such a situation, what would you have done? Something I have done a withdrawal just about a few weeks or some few days earlier. I go the next time, telling me my account is blocked. In fact, I was furious. I asked them, what did you say? That was the initial reaction. But then I went back, thought to myself, well, I need to calm down. So I had to calm down to be able to speak to the woman to find out. Now, when I calmed down and I spoke to the woman, I told her to really check it because I had actually withdrawn some money earlier. She checked, and lo and behold, There was no block. So it taught me the need to always not just react, but to think through matters before reacting. So that's just an overview. And because we are fallible, definitely we may falter in one of these instances, right? So now let's move on to now delve into what emotional intelligence is about so that we can know how to apply the concepts very well to be effective in dealing with people. So we define emotional intelligence as the ability to understand and manage one's own emotions, as well as understand and influence the emotions of others. Everyone has emotions running through the individual every point in time. It could be one that leads to frustration, one that brings about joy, one that brings about whatever it is, moodiness and all that. So we need to manage our own emotions. Anger may be brewing within us. And if we get to know that that is what is happening, it helps us to be able to know how to react. We check ourselves. Then we are looking at influencing the emotions of others. Somebody may be very angry. Have you ever spoken to a customer care person? Maybe you had a problem with a telco or with a bank, you called them, and you were very furious, but this person stayed calm. The person was trying to tell you, please calm down. He was trying to manage your emotions. Of course, that person may also have some emotions running through the individual, but knowing very well that you are a precious customer, he had to manage his emotions very well, as well as to manage your own so that the issue can be resolved. Now let's bring it into leadership as well. When it comes to leadership, leaders actually are dealing with people. They need to move people. So emotional intelligence is a foundational skill. It's something that every leader needs to have, and it should be at the highest level possible. Of course, we don't have any limit to developing the emotional intelligence, but we need to continually renew and improve our emotional intelligence. One expert, Daniel Coleman, came up with 5 components of emotional intelligence for leaders. And the 5 components are, as we see on the screen, the first one being self-awareness. Now, self-awareness has to do with, as an individual, I need to understand myself. I need to know when I'm getting angry. I need to know when I'm getting joyful. I need to know my moods. I need to know when I'm moody and I don't want to talk to people. I need to know these different situations that I can find myself in. So self-awareness is very important. You cannot manage someone's emotions when you don't know yourself. You don't know how your emotions are brewing within. Then self-regulation. Of course, once we understand the emotions, we want to regulate the moods, the impulses. We may not be ready to speak, but someone is in pain. What do? We regulate our emotions to give the person our time. That's self-regulation. Then motivation, developing the passion to do something. Now that passion goes beyond money. Money is not everything. So it could be passion to be able to achieve a goal. I want to accomplish this certification. I want to get it. So that passion, that moves us to be able to do something. We are driven by it. And it is intrinsic. It is inside. We are looking at intrinsic motivation, not extrinsic, like money and pecs. So that is the third core component. Are you motivated to help people? Are you motivated to be able to see their needs and then address them? Then empathy. Empathy. You are looking at understanding what the person is going through. Why is the person reacting the way he's doing? What may have influenced the person behaving that way or speaking or acting that way? We want to try to give the person the benefit of the doubt. Why? What could have moved this person to do this? Is it fear, anger, frustration, background? culture? What is it? So try to put yourself in the person's shoes. Imagine what the person is going through, what the person is experiencing, the person's background. Then social skills. We want to be able to build relationships. We want to build networks. We look for common ground. Pete and I got in touch through networking, right? So social skills help us to be able to deal with people. We are able to bond with people. We are able to establish relationship with people we have never met before. We have never seen before. We are able to resolve conflicts. That is what social skills help us to be able to do. So these are the 5 core components of leadership, emotional intelligence. But why do we need this emotional intelligence? Let's try to establish the business case, the reason. What should drive us to improve our emotional intelligence? What is it? Now we are talking about leaders as if we're looking at people at the top only, but we can also lead from the bottom. So it is for us who are at the bottom, who are in the middle, wherever we find ourselves, we need this emotional intelligence skills. The research has shown that when leaders, whether they are in the middle, at the top, at the bottom, have high emotional intelligence, what happens is that the organization is able to perform far better than their colleagues or their competitors. They are able to innovate faster and consistently. You can think about the likes of Apple and Google, where some of these things thrive very well. So 90% of top performers have leaders with high emotional intelligence. That is an incentive. That is a business case that drives us to be able to improve our emotional intelligence skills. 2, employee retention. Now just imagine you have a boss who cannot control his emotions, and every now and then he's just all over the place. Will you feel happy going to the office every day? Obviously not. Or someone who shouts at you, the little mistake you make turns into a battlefield. Now, will you want to work with such a person? Obviously not. There have been instances where some people like that were removed from the organization, and it was jubilation for the people in the organization. They were not talking about it, but when the leader was removed, people were so jubilant. It shouldn't happen to us, right? No. So when leaders have high emotional intelligence, people are ready to work with them. They wouldn't want to work with another person whom they don't know. So it can help us to keep our employees. It can help us to keep our team members. It can help us to be able to bond better. So employee retention is very key. We know how expensive it is to recruit. So if we're able to retain your employees, that is a plus. For third point, financial performance. If you are an organization where leaders have high emotional intelligence, productivity is at top level, and that affects the performance of the organization in terms of even their finance. If people are collaborative, they are innovative, then we can be able to generate more revenue. So financially, we become better. So that is an incentive to developing high emotional intelligence as a leader, as an individual, even in the family. And last but not the least, this is not an exhaustive list, but very top items to build a business case to develop high emotional intelligence. Reduced costs. Reduced costs. If your employees are retained, you don't spend money recruiting. You don't spend money advertising for employees. So it reduces your costs. Operationally, it also reduces your costs. So you can see that developing high emotional intelligence has several advantages, for which reason any of us, whether we are leading from the bottom, in the middle, or at the top, need to develop. We all need to develop high emotional intelligence. Now, there is a video we want to watch, so pay attention and enjoy the video. Just about a few minutes, and that will be that. Then we come back and continue. So let's quickly watch the video.
I think a successful CEO is someone who has a good grasp of the larger systems that are impacting the business. For example, the economy, technology, the environment, social change, culture trends, all of those, because that allows a CEO to determine what should our strategy be going forward. But once you have that strategy, you can only get there through people. So I'd say on the one hand, the effective CEO needs to have a good grasp of the forces that are driving your own company and its future. On the other hand, you have to be able to communicate that effectively, to persuade, to motivate. You need essentially the skills of emotional intelligence. Social intelligence matters immensely for leadership effectiveness because it taps into the part of the brain that empathizes and that relates to other people. And if you don't have that ability as a leader, if you're not able to sense how your leadership matters to other people, how what you say drives them this way or that, then you're going to have trouble. But if you're able to sense in the moment how you as a leader are affecting the people that you need to direct and guide, then you can be more successful. You know, empathy for a leader and on a team is absolutely crucial because if you think about the leader who has zero empathy, this is actually tends to be a boss everybody hates. And the reason is that the boss just gives orders, doesn't tune in to how people are reacting, doesn't understand how what they do and say impacts other people, and they go off the tracks. So for a high-performing team and for a high-performing leader, you need empathy because that allows a leader to understand the impact of what they do and what they say, to fine-tune it, to change it as needed. And if they don't do that, it's a very sad story. And if they do that, it's a very successful one.
I hope the point is very clear. We want success, so that is why we will need to develop this skill. Now let's look at human-centric leadership. If you noticed in the video, emotional intelligence, how does your leadership impact others? One thing we want to do is to foster psychological safety. Psychological safety, what does that mean? It is the belief that one will not be punished or humiliated for speaking up with ideas, questions, concerns, or mistakes. You don't fear to make a mistake because you have someone to back you. You are given the room to be able to freely share your ideas, ask questions, challenge the status quo so that things can improve in the organization. So high-performing leaders make the room for people to be able to make mistakes. We all make mistakes, and that is a fact. But why does it matter that we foster psychological safety? For a number of reasons. It creates an environment where everybody feels valued and heard. Now just think about it. If you are in a meeting and you are told to stop asking questions, at a point in time, you will not even raise up your hand again when even you genuinely want to ask a question. Or even they want you to contribute. You don't want to raise your hand because of that. So we want to create an environment where people feel heard and therefore they are not afraid to be able to tactfully bring out their concerns. It also makes it easy for people to be able to have dialogue and diverse perspectives. We all don't think the same way. We all don't come from the same background. So our ideologies and our ways of thinking will differ from one another. And we need to be inclusive, allow people to express their views. Sometimes divergence can help. It brings creativity as well. Then it facilitates learning from failures and continuous improvement. If we are able to help people bring out their ideas, maybe their ideas may be better than what we have as leaders. So make that room and people will be able to thrive. It builds trust and strengthens team cohesion. When I feel heard, and when you feel heard, it makes you feel good. It brings about bonding. You don't feel someone is putting you down, a feeling that none of us would want to have. Then it also improves overall team performance and innovation. When people feel that their mistakes will not be used as a means to punish, they will not hide the mistakes when they commit them. I happened to train a group of people, and there was a nurse in the training as a participant. And we talk about some of these things, and she mentioned that in their environment, if you bring out a mistake, you may be fired. Now just think about it. That mistake that could have saved lives in the health sector, if it is not brought to the light and it's repeated, look at the number of people who will die. Instead of one person suffering, majority of people will die. So that is the sense we want to have, that people should feel free to bring out the mistakes that they have committed. And think about it. Everyone makes mistakes. No one is infallible. So because we make mistakes, we need to admit that, yes, we make mistakes. And when we make it, admit it. It is only humility that enables one to admit his mistakes. That, yes, I have made that mistake. I need to be corrected. And that is what high-performing leaders need to do. I don't know it all. I'm not the best in everything. Someone is better than I am in one way or the other. So I need to listen. Then invite feedback, constructive feedback. Think about it. Imagine a leader comes to tell you or ask you, can you please give me some feedback about how I'm leading? Do you think there's any area I can improve? Is there any area where I can become better? Can you help me? How would you feel if your leader comes to ask of this from you? It shows some level of humility. We want to be genuinely humble to be able to seek for feedback as we give people feedback. We don't want to be the type of boss who will just wait until when it is appraisal time. Then we start telling the people, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you didn't do that. You didn't give the feedback. Now I come to give feedback on accountability time. So let's invite the feedback. Let's give constructive feedback. That will help. Then rewarding vulnerability. We have to recognize and praise individuals who speak up, challenge the status quo, admit uncertainty. This will reinforce the behaviors and encourage the people to do the same and to be beneficial to the organization. So if people are able to speak up and not hide, don't be afraid to reward such ones. Commend them for their boldness, because it requires courage for somebody to be able to come up with a mistake he has committed or something he finds not working properly, even though that is the status quo. It requires a lot of courage. So when people are courageous enough to be able to speak up, we need to commend such ones so that they can be able to maintain that kind of boldness to be able to speak up. We also want to look at empathetic communication strategies. If you want to increase your emotional intelligence skills, then we need to practice a lot of active listening. Now, active listening requires that we listen with all our senses, our eyes, our ears, every part of the senses should be able to listen, and listen with attention. Not that I'm on my phone and you're talking to me, I'm hearing, but I'm not listening because I am engaged. I am not 100% with you. So active listening requires that we give people our attention. And just think about it. You are talking to somebody and the person is on his phone, and he asks you, sorry, what did you say? How do you feel? The person did not practice active listening. Of course, there are instances where we will need to excuse ourselves. We just have to let the person know that, sorry, can you just give me some few minutes? I'm a bit engaged. That is more respectful and better than being divided. Now, validate emotions. Sometimes we assume things. Our assumptions may be wrong. So validate. I feel you are not feeling too well. You don't seem too good. Is that the case? They are validating. That's what you have seen. It may not be the case. So try to validate, confirm that what you are seeing or what you are experiencing is what it is. Don't always assume. Of course, we assume sometimes and we make mistakes. So confirm. Just validate the emotions. Be sure about it. Use open-ended questions. Allow people to flow. Encourage them to be able to bring out their thoughts so that they can express themselves, how they feel within, what has influenced their actions, and that will help you to be able to steer them in the right direction. Now, an example is given here. Imagine your team member comes to you and tells you, I'm feeling frustrated about this project deadline, right? Deadline is super tight. I don't think we can finish everything on time. He's ranting this to you as a leader. How will you respond? Well, an empathetic leader would apply all that we have discussed so far. What will be the response? I hear of frustrations about the tight deadline, and I understand that this is putting a lot of pressure on you. Can you tell me more about what specific challenges you are facing and what support you might need to navigate this? You diffuse the tension the person has developed within himself or is even bringing. It's a negative energy that is being brought out. Can you diffuse that negative energy? Well, that requires a lot of empathy. So try to use open-ended questions. What is the challenge? Can you be specific about it? How can I help? What help do you need? The person may not have considered all of this before ranting. So help the person consider this. That helps the individual to realize that he needs to calm down and get the necessary support to be able to move on. Building trust and empowerment. People want to hold on to power. They don't want to let go. But leaders with high emotional intelligence are ready to empower others to take ownership of their work. So they will not be micromanaging all the time. No. They will provide that enabling environment that makes the team capable to be able to do the work without being micromanaged. And how many of us like to be micromanaged? Just think about it. How many of us would like to do that? We would like to be dealt that way or dealt with that way. We want to be given the autonomy to be able to work. So as leaders, we want to empower people. And how do we empower them? Grant them autonomy, guided autonomy, right? Allow them to be able to determine how they want to achieve their goals, discuss with them, and if it is agreeable, why not? Allow them to do it the way they want. If that is going to give you the desired results, that should be it. Allow the person to work the way they want to work. If the results is going to be as you want it, let them do it the way they want and get the results done very well with the highest quality, on time, and within the budget. Provide the necessary resources that can enable them to do the job. Sometimes people don't have the tools and they are required to deliver. How can that be? Give them the tools. If they have to be trained, give them the training as a leader. If you have to train them, that's fine. If you can get a colleague to train them. And interestingly, I've had the opportunity to be invited to train people in a PMO for free. Just 2 hours in the day, get in there, talk to their team members online, and then they ask a few questions about risk, about projects, agile, and the rest. So get somebody with the requisite skill to help your team develop the necessary skills that they need to be able to do the job well. Show confidence. Now, if your leader has confidence in you, how does that make you feel? You feel a sense of belonging, right? That is how it feels if we have people who have such confidence in us. We feel good about it. And we are happy that someone has confidence in our abilities. So in the same way, if we are leading, we want to ensure that our subordinates, our team members, really know that we have confidence in them. Why? Because we have given them the resources, we have trained them, we have empowered them. So we have that confidence in them. That will help them a lot. Then also, we are looking at aligning individual work. You want to connect each team member's contribution to the broader team purpose. So what each person is doing should be able to meet the objective of the entire team. Individual work, meeting the objective of the entire team. Very important. So they should see the connection between what they are doing and the overall goal of the team. If it's an organization, different units are doing different things. But then they should have in mind the umbrella goal that we have as an organization. Authentic recognition. Provide genuine appreciation for contributions. A simple thank you very much for this. It's a recognition that someone may keep for a long time. There are some leaders who people do things for them and then they find problems with what they have done, but then they use the material in their presentation. Why? They don't want to appreciate what the person has done, but they take credit for what the person has done. Authentic and high-performing leaders really recognize people's contribution to the work that they do. So let us be genuine about our appreciation. We should be quick to commend people than to judge them. Quick to commend, less to judge the people. Okay. Then supporting growth, career growth. People want to go up the ladder, the career ladder. Can you find ways and means to help them? So there are people that I have coached and helping them to be able to look at the right certifications to do to build their career has helped them. So help them. If there is a job placement where you can actually put them, that they can earn better or to be better there, don't be afraid to take them there. You know, you can train other people to be same as they are. So support their career growth, and that will make them feel good. The thing is this, one participant in one of my training mentioned that he was ready to die for his leader than for the company itself. Can you imagine that? Ready to die for the leader, his boss, because the boss meant everything to him. The boss was a true leader, an empathetic leader. So he was ready to do everything for the boss. Well, it may not be the same for us, but we can see the point in there. If we are able to develop high emotional intelligence, we can help people in that regard. Now, driving collaboration and innovation. We mentioned that high emotional intelligence in leaders can help drive innovation and collaboration, which is very key for organizations. Now, think about it. Many organizations work in silos. So you have different units, and all they care about is what they are doing without recourse to what other team members are doing or other departments are doing. Now, if we have high emotional intelligence, what will happen is that we try to break the silos, make sure that people are working together, they are collaborating. So it's not my unit against your unit. We're in the same organization. Why should your unit be against my unit? And it happens in many organizations. One unit wants to outshine the other. And for that reason, they create that kind of silos. They are not working in a collaborative manner. All they think about is their department, their unit shining. But with emotional intelligence, we can help these teams to see the bigger picture, to work together as a unit, to collaborate for the success of the entire organization. Or if it's a team and we have different skill sets, we are working together to achieve a goal that we all must be able to be proud of. Therefore, that siloed kind of approach wouldn't work. So we need to use high emotional intelligence to be able to break that barrier, to make people work collaboratively, and that fosters a culture where people can actually explore, be robust, solve problems, and enhance creativity as well. So you can see clearly that we've talked about psychological safety, making it easier for people to be able to voice their concerns. It leads to diverse perspectives, which means that people are able to bring different viewpoints. They can also challenge the status quo and assumptions that already exist for whatever is being done. And that leads to creative conflicts. Remember, conflict in itself is not bad. It is the way we go about handling conflict that makes it bad or good. So conflict can help us to be creative. In that way, we look at a 360 overview of the various perspectives and then put them together to have a very good solution that caters to all these ideas. Then enhance innovation. More robust problem solving and groundbreaking ideas are brought to the fore. Google has such in their place where people are allowed to even bring out solutions. And some of the solutions that we have today were the ideas of employees of Google. Can you imagine that? Employees were given that liberty to bring out whatever they think will benefit humankind. And that's what has brought them many of these solutions that we have today. Now let's look at navigating conflict and challenge and conflicts. So let's look at that quickly. If we have high emotional intelligence, we can be a stabilizing force. We realize that because we have diverse backgrounds, people may not see eye to eye with each other. But if we have high emotional intelligence, we'll be able to bring stability within the diverse groups of people that we are working with. We help people to be able to manage their emotions and realize that we have others in the team with different perspectives. We cannot all think the same way. So we want to embrace that conflict. And once we have uncertainty, we have conflicts going to arise. We have to self-regulate ourselves, show empathy to be able to handle conflict effectively. We also want to provide guidance. As part of our training people, we want to provide clear communication and direction so that they are able to know what is expected of them, so that they can be able to produce the necessary outcomes. Then positive outcome, adaptability, and resilience. So how do we go about developing these strategies for high emotional intelligence? One, demonstrating composure. So when you are provoked, when you are under pressure, okay, maintain composure. Someone can accuse you wrongly, something you have not done, but you have been accused of it. How would you react? So that will determine the level of emotional intelligence that you have. So composure is very important. The initial reaction, if we follow that, we might make a mistake or something that we may want to even regret. So demonstrate composure when you are put on the spot. Express understanding. We talk about validating people's emotions. So validate the person's concerns, provide clarity about the situation, and then look at the next steps. If we think that way, we are able to develop good relationship with people. We are able to work with diverse people, no matter who they are. They can be as difficult as whatever, but we can be able to work with them. And that has been the case when I was working in the bank. There were people that were seen as, these people are not so good. They are troublesome. But when you develop high emotional intelligence, you can work with them. Just understand what they require, understand their requirements, what has informed their behavior. Why do they work the way they do? Understanding these things can help us to be empathetic, and we can be able to work with these individuals. Clear communication has been highlighted again. Open, transparent communication that keeps teams informed and engaged during transitions. If you are transitioning, make sure there's clear communication. Very important so that we can be able to work with people in the best possible way. So, what is our action plan? As we leave this session, what should be running through our minds? What should we be looking forward to doing to become better leaders, even at home, at work, whether in a religious group, a church, or something, or anywhere we find ourselves? What can we look forward to doing? Well, we talked about the 5 core components, right? Self-awareness, practice mindfulness, look at yourself, be mindful of your emotions, seek feedback. Am I getting angry? What do you think? Ask someone to give you constructive feedback. Self-regulation. Now, take breaks. Sometimes you need to take break off work to rejuvenate. Pause before responding. Don't fall to the trap of letting out the first emotions that comes when you are confronted with challenging situations. The first emotions may usually not be the best. So pause, think through. You can even take deep breaths. Yeah, sometimes you have to take deep breath to just calm yourself down, to be more composed, to be able to deal with the situation better. Then motivation, focus on growth. It should not always be about money. Connect to purpose. Be motivated intrinsically. So as we go along in our daily activities, let's look at what motivates us. Is there something that we can improve in there? Then empathy, showing empathy, fellow feeling for the others. Ask open questions, validate the feelings to be sure they are what you think they are. Then social skills, build networks, work with people from different backgrounds, practice inclusive communication, welcome diverse views. So these are the things we want to do. So if you're able to do this on a regular basis, check. So you are doing some retrospective of yourself, introspective. So regularly reflect on your way of working with people. Think back some few weeks ago, how you work with people. Is there any areas where you can improve so you can be able to better deal with people, relate with people? And remember, we relate with people almost everywhere we find ourselves, right? At home, at church, in a religious setting, at work, in the neighborhood, at school, wherever we are interacting with people. Track progress. You should have a goal. Now, the goal could be that I want to be able to be more empathetic. So start asking yourself, reviewing from now to maybe the next 2 weeks, how empathetic have you been? Then you want to change to self-regulation. How have you been able to self-regulate yourself in situations that you encountered? Maybe you can take a diary and then write some of these things to help you track. Because sometimes if you don't write them, you will not be able to track. You would miss out on some of those important things that you could have learned from. Then you also want to look at celebrating small wins. If you have been able to overcome a challenge, even in one setting, please celebrate it. Be happy about yourself that you have been able to do something that in the past you couldn't do. For example, you have become more empathetic and somebody is thanking you so much. You will think about it, wow. So this way of working or this way of reacting has brought this kind of praise or thanks. You need to be happy about that success that you have been able to chalk. And if you will chalk more of the successes, it gives us the impetus to even do better when it comes to developing high emotional intelligence as leaders. So these are the things that we want to do. At this point, I just give you the list of references, and please stay tuned. We want to check if we've been able to hone in the skills. Have we gotten these things very well? That is why we are going to have a quiz. So please don't drop out yet. The quiz is going to test how we've been able to capture these concepts. And if you happen to be in Ghana or wherever you happen to meet me, I have a book that I would want to give you if you win one of the quizzes. So, or you answer right. So let's start. I'll give the floor to my colleague. Yes, so you have the first question. Let's see your answers, please. Let's see the answers that are coming in. Feel free, read through, and then answer. So your team just hit a major milestone in the project, thanks in large part to Sarah's diligent work behind the scenes. However, during the celebratory webinar, the team leader praises the more visible contributors and forgets to mention Sarah's efforts. Sarah is noticeably quiet. So the question is, if you are in a meeting, and this is what has happened, how would you handle this situation? It's a live call, right? How would you handle this situation? What would you have done? Okay, the answers are coming in. Looks good. Looks good. So we have two opposing answers. We have option 1 and option 2 having been chosen. Okay. So we have 7 people that have answered out of 36. Okay, we have 8. 1 more minute, and then we go on to the next question. Okay, so it seems that the option B is having traction more than option A, right? Okay. So 2 people voted for option A or option 1. Now 12 people have voted for option 2. The answer is option 2. The answer is option 2. And why? Why is this the answer? This is the most effective and emotionally intelligent response because it demonstrates social awareness and relationship management. It addresses the issue directly and publicly, ensuring Sarah receives the recognition she deserves. That will be the best way to go. You don't keep quiet on such issues for people to keep suffering, right? Okay, that's good. We move on to the next. That is the number 2. Okay, so we have number 2. Majority have chosen the answer, the first answer. Okay, majority have chosen that. About 10 people have chosen that. 1 person has chosen number 2, option 2. Okay, so the answer for this is also B. It's also B as option 2. So question number 2, the answer is option 2. Now, why is this answer correct? This answer demonstrates strong relationship management and conflict resolution skills. It doesn't take sides. but instead establishes a fair and structured process for debate, which helps de-escalate the tension and ensures both parties feel heard. So that is the reason for that particular answer. Good. Then we go to number 3. Let's see. Okay, number 3. So far we have 13 people that have polled. Okay. So number 3, we are going to have the answer as well. And the answer also is option 2. That's B. Option 2. Option 2 is correct. And why is option 2 correct? The option 2 is correct because this response shows high social awareness. By addressing the issue privately, you prevent public embarrassment for the new team member, which helps preserve the relationship and build trust. Can you imagine that? So that is what we would have loved to be treated in that way. So we also do the same for that individual. And that brings us to the last one, the number 4. Let's see. Okay, so number 4, we have option 1, option 2. Option 2 and option 3 have been chosen by people. So let's see how many chose option 3. 12 out of 13, 1 chose option 2. So the answer is option 3. Wow, we deserve an applause, right? That's good. Good job. Good job, everyone. Good job. All those who participated, you've done so well. Very good job. It shows that many of us, I would say almost everyone here, has understood these points that we have discussed about emotional intelligence for leaders. Again, leadership is not only for people at the top. Remember, we can lead from the bottom. We can also lead in the middle. Wherever we find ourselves, we can actually lead. So we want to hone our emotional intelligence skills so that we can be effective or more effective leaders. Now it's question time, and good here to open the floor for questions. So,
All right, great.
colleagues, yes, Pete, are there any questions
Yeah.
on the chat box?
Yeah, that was a very good session. First of all, thank you so much. Anakin, are you on the call? Thank you. If you can let us know if there is any question.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, you can. We can hear you.
Okay, there's a question here. The question reads, it said, what strategies would you recommend for dealing with a leader who is not emotionally intelligent?
Very interesting question. Yeah.
It said, what strategies would you recommend for dealing with a leader who is not emotionally intelligent?
Good. So there are several strategies that can be used for this. First of all, you would want to understand his background. Some people have been raised in families or in an environment that did not pay attention to some of these things. Or his father was not emotionally intelligent. He has learned and picked up this trait and he has grown up with it. For such individuals, we want to understand them and be empathetic towards them. You can schedule, we would say, a very informal discussion with the individual. Informal discussion, not in the office setting. Find out what the person is interested in. Is it football? Is it hockey? Is it table tennis? That person may be interested in something, or even the bottles, right? The bottle, right? So if the person is interested in bottle, what kind of bottle? Is it beer or is it Guinness? Find what that person is interested in. And in a very friendly, relaxed setting, sit with the individual, wherever it could be. Have a discussion. Commend him for the good you see in him. Because even that person has at least an iota of good in that individual, an iota of good. Even the devil has an iota of good in him, right? So find that good in that individual and commend him for that good. Now, if you set that background, it makes it easier for the person to now engage and listen. Now you have set the background very right. You now want to speak about some observations you have made. Or you can even start by understanding the person's individual. You have to tell the person your background. Your background. Just tell the person about your background. Let the person also flow. Now, understanding the background, you'll be able to see and know how to be able to put your punches. Because think about it. If you don't understand the person's background, you may start providing advice that will not work. So find the person's background. That will be one strategy you can use. Understand the person's background, what has informed the person's way of thinking. Who are the person's friends? Are the friends influencing him to do what he's doing? So all these things can help you understand the person, and then you can be able to empathize. And whilst you are empathizing, you can help the person reflect on how his actions or inactions affect others and also affect him himself. So that will be the approach that I will recommend. It has been used. I have personally used that to understand people at the workplace. An example I have with one of my subordinates at the time when I was in a telco. Now, this young guy will come to the office with dirty clothes. Can you imagine that? He's unkempt, but you are earning money every now and then, every month you are being paid. So why are you in this? Then one day, people were talking about it. One day I just sat down with the guy and I asked the individual, how is home? How are things at home? He's a single guy, and he started telling me that he has many sisters. He's the only person who has been taken to university, and everybody is looking up to him. His younger sisters and some of the older sisters have given birth to children, and they are all looking up to him. So his salary is not meant for he himself. So he's not even able to spend money on himself. Can you imagine? So after understanding this, I just help the individual to see what he can do so that he can improve, because other people are offended by the way he does his things. So understanding the background is very key. So you know why things are happening the way they are. Thank you.
That is really great. I can see a hand up. Anakin?
Okay, we have another question on the chat. So the next question reads, it says, what strategy would you recommend for a leader who is arrogant and doesn't value how his words or feedback can impact people?
Okay. Have you heard about proxy, right? Proxy. Now that person that is arrogant has an individual that he respects or fears in a way. Everybody, no matter how arrogant you are, there's someone. It could even be the person's wife. It could be the person's driver. It could be the person's watchman. Somebody that the person fears or respects more than any other person. Find out that individual. Find out that individual. That person cannot take his arrogance to. Talk to the individual. Let that person understand what this individual is doing that affects others. And let that person that he fears or respects that much speak to him. Sometimes when it happens that way, they are able to listen more than the people that they are playing down on. So find out that proxy. You are not reporting the person. You are trying to help the individual. So use that proxy whom that individual respects so much to be able to advise or to provide some level of insight into how his behavior is affecting other people. And by the time you realize, to some extent, he might tone down his behavior, or he would minimize it. Or there are some people, no matter what you do, they are still not going to change. They still want to behave the way they want to behave. Whatever influences them, we only want to do our best. We want to be respectful to them. And what I've also noticed is that when someone is arrogant and you don't meet him the same way with arrogance, the person wonders why you are not the way he is. And remember, sometimes people are arrogant, they want to change, but they're not able to change. They don't know how to change. So you being someone who diffuses the tension, the person might be sitting. So your example, your good example might be something the person who is arrogant is watching. Why is this person not like the way I am? The person may even come to you and ask, it seems you are a different person. Why do you behave the way you do? Then you can provide some kind of valuable counsel to this arrogant person. Well, this is A, B, C, D. I cherish my relationship with people, and that is why I don't do A, B, C, D. So these are the two options that I can recommend. Try to do your best not to face him with the same kind of situation, also being angry at him, but be respectful, tactful, and don't take much of whatever he's doing to heart. Don't focus so much on the anger. Because if you focus so much on that, that will even infuriate you and you will not be able to work with the individual. Take him as he is. You cannot change the person, but you can manage your emotions when you are handling matters with that individual. Now, with that in mind, you are able to better deal with this individual. So, two ways: use a proxy, set a good example yourself, meet him with the best you can, smiles, respect, whatever. Do your best. And hopefully that person might change or may even ask you for help. That would be my recommendation. Thank you.
Great answers, great answers. Thank you so much, right? Action and reactions are equal and opposite. So if you really go head on to it, definitely it's going to definitely escalate.
Exactly.
All right. I'm not sure if you see a hand. Divine, you have your hands up. If you can unmute and quickly ask a question, that will be good.
Okay, thank you very much, Pete. And thank you very much for the wonderful presentation. So I want to say something about and so
Sorry, I don't know. I'm not able to hear him well. Am I the only person?
No. I think you're having the connection issue there, Divine, if you can hear us. If you can hear us, we can't pick what you're saying at the moment. Divine. All right. Looks like we can hear you. Okay, cool. Divine, if you can type that in the chat, that would be good. Otherwise, looks like we can pick it.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's connection issue anyway.
Yeah,
So
connection.
we will just go ahead because we can pick that contribution. We would love to have that contribution, but we can pick it. So let's quickly go on. I don't think there is another question in the chat, but we've got quite loads of comments, and these are comments that people have really put in the chat. Good comments just to show how they have experienced emotional intelligence, different forms, and also some strategies that people have shared. So thank you everyone for sharing those ones. We have about 15 more minutes to go, and so let's see how we can utilize that very well. Emmanuel, before I take over, is there a parting shot or anything you want to say? And while I try to share my screen.
Okay, so I would want to say that it's been a very wonderful session with everyone. I have not been able to see the comments, but I will check that once you take over. But I want to thank everyone for the listening ear that they have given to this session, and I look forward to connecting with them, maybe on LinkedIn or in any other setting. And I'm also available to help your team, the organization, in terms of the capacity building as well. Thank you very much, Pete.
You're welcome. Thank you for sharing with us today. Thank you. It was really a very good session. Stick around while we share the remaining information to you. So first of all, someone has in the chat the PDU code. So here is the PDU code. Thank you so much, guys. You can use this code to claim 1.5 PDUs. That's 1.5 hours of spending time together. Today, spend some time before we really start recording. So that is going to be our PDU code for this session. Again, it's a good topic today. Emotional intelligence is what each and every one as project managers, project practitioners should have. And so just piggyback on the just concluded session. I took a lot of insight away from this session today, and so I believe you too, have picked a few things. While you go to work tomorrow, which of these strategies that you've heard today are you going to implement at work? How are you going to relate to that person who has shown zero or lead to emotional intelligence? Or how can you improve your own personal emotional intelligence? One of the areas that I really picked up early in my career is empathy, the place of empathy. I know that I needed to be more empathetic, and that's one area that I have improved over the years. So you look at all those strategies and also implement in your world of work and your personal life as well. So that is the PDU code. Again, I just need to advise that we meet every month. So we will advise you of the upcoming meetup, which is going to be next month. It's going to be another very impactful and insightful session. It's going to be third Wednesday of next month. We show up every third Wednesday of every single month, and it's 8 p.m. Western African time. So you can go ahead and register for that, and then definitely we will and 3 p.m. EST. Thank you, Andrea. It's a global community, and we are growing and expanding every single time. Our promise to you is we will share ideas that you can go ahead and implement, readily implement. That means you rock up here, you are living with at least one and several insights that you can implement. And by doing so, you become a better practitioner. So we'll say it's a very good place to stop today. Really appreciate spending the last 1.5 hours with you, and also your comments and also showing up here is really appreciated. Hopefully, we will see next month where we bring another insightful session, another power pack session. Until then, I will say keep winning, and thank you so much for your time today. Thank you. Bye for now.